Hello there. You have probably been trying to learn web development, but to learn web development can be a bit tricky because there are a lot of information, and at a point you are going to get overwhelmed and you get stuck in a loop, not knowing where to head to. So, because of that reason, I have created this beginner roadmap to guide you on your journey as a web developer. I am Abdul-muizz. It is nice having you here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. So to learn web development, there are some basic things you need to put into consideration. The first of them is how the web actually works. So it is not news that you've actually interacted with a website directly or indirectly. Maybe when you wanted to prepare jollof rice, you search it on Google, okay, how to prepare jollof rice the Nigerian way or the Ghanaian way. So also the process of watching this video, interacting with this video, learning from this video is also as a result of the the web development. Um, Also, what front end web development is, back end, and full stack. Then the final part of this section, which is a code editor or IDE, which is what a code editor is or an IDE is. All websites are the most basic, are just a bunch of files stored in a server. The server is connected to the internet, making it easy for us to access websites using our different browsers. Um, Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, etc. Web development falls into three categories: the front end, the back end, and the full stack. The front end, back end, and full stack describes which aspects of the client server relationship you are working on. So, the front end, someone that deals with the front end is also known as a front end developer. The person that deals with the back end is known as a back end developer, and full stack deals with is also known as the full stack developer. The front end means you are dealing with the client side, that is the part that is being showed to the user on the browser. The backend is the part of the website that is aiding to the user, but it has a very big role in creation of a website because it deals with the logic and functionalities that make the website actually function as it is meant to be. For better illustration, the front end is a part of the restaurant whereby the customers come, sit down, look at the environment. If they feel impressed, they can end up buying from 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 the restaurants, leave, look at interior, and look at things that impress them and keep them coming over and over again. While the backend is a part of the website that it is eating it is part of the restaurant that is eating to to the customers. That is, they don't really see what is happening behind the scene. They don't see where the inventory is being taken, where the delivery is being taken, how the food is being prepared, and many other activities that is being happening before their food is being served to them. If you remember, I said the web development role fall into three three categories. The first one, which is the front end, back end, and full stack. So the full stack, which I haven't really talked about, is the combination of what is happening, of the activities happening in the front end and back end, giving it to one person who is a full stack developer to take on the role to do both. By now, you already know what web development is all about, who a front end developer is, who a back end developer is, and who a full stack developer is. So, moving to the next part of the section, which is the code editor. Okay, from the name you can feel like, okay, code editor, okay, like it is like a platform that I can use to edit my code after it has been written, where you have an idea with the aspect of code, but the aspect of it editing your code, it is out of it. A code editor is also known as an IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. This is a place where your code is being written. That is, you write your code. Then you also run your code also to check for errors and many other things. A lot of editors out there, but the most popular of them is the Visual Studio Code. A lot of people use it because it is free, It is easy to use and it enables customization. The next section of this tutorial is the basic of front end, and there are three basic things you need to know to start front end development. That is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I'll be taking them one after the other, explain what each of them does to actually make a website or a web application come to life. The HTML standing for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is the main file that is being rendered on the web page whenever we make a request. That is whenever we search up something online. HTML contains different types of contents. It is used to denote the heading, the paragraph, section, and many more. So to know more about what HTML is all about and why we have HTML on our page, you can check the link in the description video to watch that. Which stands for Cascading Style Sheet. It is used to make the web page, to make it look fine and attractive, to give it some styling, to give it color, to give it border radius, and a lot of things depending on your creativity. That's how well your this thing is going to be, your website is going to be. But all that is being handled is CSS. JavaScript is a programming language designed to run in the browser. It helps in making some functionalities come to life. That is, let's say for example, whenever I click on this particular button, I want the color to change to color green. Whenever I input this form, I want this information to be sent to the database. And many more activities like that is being done with the help of JavaScript. CSS and JavaScript are the basic building blocks to become a front end. So I will advise you to make sure that you master to master HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to become very proficient at front end web development if that is what you are going to major into. In addition to all what I've been saying earlier, there are some other few things that you need to learn at this point since you are already growing in your skill, since you already have knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And my advice for beginners is that you should make sure that you do not skip those stuff before jumping to anything because they are the things that is going to stand as your foundation. If you don't understand those concepts very well, then you find it difficult as you continue in your journey of becoming a web developer. So the next thing we'll be talking about are package manager. Package manager are softwares that are online and are there are being created for you to be able to integrate in your own project for easy access and all. Those packages can be referred to as plugins that you can make use of in your work. And make use of to make your life very easy when you're coding. Okay, let's assume there's this particular concept I want to integrate in the web application or the website that I'm building. So, but I know that it's going to take me like 5 days, and 5 days is a lot of time on a particular concept. And someone else has already done that already. Why not just integrate the person's code into your own code? It is not actually copy and pasting. It is you need to make use of some integrations. You understand? So doing that is going to give you the edge, make your work neat, faster, and give you ahead in the industry. Version control is also referred to as source control. It is a software that helps to have previous version of your code. Version control is like having a save point for every of the code that you are writing. Okay, let's at this part after I'm done, like after working for a project for a week or so, then notice that there's a particular bug that you don't know how it happens. Like something just came up, then your app crashed. Then you'll be like, oh, what will I do now? Will I have to start this thing all over again? So because of that, version control can help you since you have a previous version of that particular code. So what you just do is get the previous version from the version control, and there are different types of version control, and one of them is Git. So and Git is actually the most popular one of them, one of the version controls, and it has access. It is easy to back up your information for future reference. In the explanation of what web development is all about, we've come a long way talking about what web development is all about, the basic front end tools, and some packages that you need to know, like some tools you need to know, which some of them include the package manager, npm, and the git. So give yourself a pat on the back for watching to this moment. So by now, a lot of things might be on your mind. Like, okay, at the end of the day, I already know basically what a front end developer does, what a back end developer does, and what a full stack developer does. Okay, so the question now you might probably be asking is that which one should I major into? So as I have said earlier, the HTML and CSS and JavaScript, they are the basic things you need to know if you want to become a front-end developer. And it doesn't end there. There are still some intermediate and advanced concepts that you also need to put into it if you'll be majoring into front-end development and to make you have a edge in the industry. And some of them include frameworks and other libraries. So some of the additional concepts which I would advise you look into include responsive design, SAS, and some JavaScript frameworks. So the first thing we'll be talking about is SAS. SAS is a CSS extension that makes writing styles more modular. It is a very powerful tool that can split your styles into different files to aid organization, creation of variable, and many more you can think of. But at the end of the day, SAS is basically there to just make your life easy, to make everything more organized. Responsive design is also a very, very important concept that you must take note as a front-end developer because your your website or web application will be viewed on different mobile view on different viewports. I mean, so example include someone viewing from a laptop will have a bigger screen compared to that of a tablet and compared to that of a mobile phone. So you have to make sure that everyone, regardless of their viewports, they must have a very good user experience. And even from the analysis I read so far, the amount of people that view websites or web applications from mobile, they are increasing day in day out. The next part is JavaScript frameworks. So provided that you've understood the basic fundamentals of JavaScript, like you understand JavaScript to some extent, you can move on to some JavaScript framework because they are there to make your life easy. And some of them include the React, Vue, Angular, and many more. So a lot of people use JavaScript framework because they allow you to be able to build your web application faster because of the components that is being kept in place of each of them. So the question now is which framework should you learn? Well, it all depends on some criteria. The number one criteria is which one do you actually enjoy using? Then two, which let's assume your intention is to land the job in a company or something like that. So you have to put into consideration the kind of frameworks your company is using, or the company what or the kind of frameworks that they need in that company. Front-end development shouldn't be a problem to you anymore since we've discussed virtually we've discussed almost everything about front-end development. So now we'll be moving to back-end development. The tools you need to put into consideration, the basic things you need to know, and other things. So there are three basic components that makes up the backend. The number one thing is the server. Number two is the server-side programming language. Number four, number three, I mean, which is the database where you store your user information. Before now, we've actually discussed what server is all about, but we didn't go deep into it, so we'll be discussing it here. So server is more like a computer where all your information are being stored, your HTML file, CSS file, database information, and many more, everything being stored in that server. Traditional servers runs on operating systems such as Linux, Windows. That's because all the information are being stored inside of the operating system. You understand? But it is very, very expensive to maintain those kind of servers. So that's where another type of server comes in place. Serverless architecture, which are more decentralized. Example of them include the house, Amazon Web Service, and Netlify. Though there are more, but these are like most popular ones. They are very, very popular because they are fast, cheap, and you don't need to worry about maintenance because the cost of maintenance is always very, very high for for a server. That's why the traditional method of creating a server has been abandoned. Like it is not very much involved, though people are still using it. Next part of this section is the programming language, that is the server-side programming language. So before some functions and logics can take place, they need to be in place of something, which is the server-side programming language. The server-side programming language is there to write the functions and logic that makes a web application or website to function as it is meant to be. So some of the stuff include the authentication and many more. So example of this programming language include Python, a JavaScript runtime environment which is called Node.js, C Sharp, um, Ruby, Node.js. I've said that earlier, and many more. There are a lot of them. Finally, you need to learn about what database is all about. As name implies, database is where you store your information, your user information, input form, and many more regardless. So the most popular language used for database is SQL, pronounced as is SQL, pronounced as SQL, and the full meaning is structured query language. It is more like a table. It is more like a table-like structure, more like Excel. So the other one we also have is NoSQL. An example include MongoDB. That one it makes use of arrays to do its work instead of tables. Database can be implemented in different ways. Well, if you enter a website or web application that requires authentication, that is, you need to log in before you can enter. So, for the website or web application to know that okay, this person is actually a returning user, you must have stored some information. There must be your information that is being stored in the database. Which some of them include your email or username and the password. So we've come to the very end of this tutorial, and those things I've said earlier, that's the way I recommend you should start your journey as a web developer. And I really appreciate you for watching to this moment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.